This episode of Push to Smart contains spoilers for Never Alone.
Welcome back to the Games Club. This time we're only going to do one episode discussing Never Alone since it is quite a short game, but I think we have a lot to say about it regardless. So this will be our final thoughts. One of the things we really kind of focused on in our intro video is the fact that this was a self-proclaimed world game, and they were really pushing this as a new genre, and we didn't really know what that meant. Having now played the game, do you think you have like an idea what world games are?
I do. When it was first explained what a world game is, I was like, that's a really cool idea.
There was a lot of talk, and there was a kind of feeling of, that could be cool if it works, but it could also be just this very awkward separation of, like, you know, whenever you'd have to play an educational game at school.
Exactly.
Not really fun. It's like, and then there's this real sense of, you know, are you actually learning anything from it? But this, I feel like I have a good idea of what they were going for, and I think for the most part it worked. Because as you progress through the game, which is very short, very straightforward, you unlock different videos talking to what they call their cultural ambassadors that discuss what you have just done or what you were about to do. So, for instance, right after that very cool animated opening sequence, it'll unlock a video that explains, oh, that style, that's called scrimshaw. This is the cultural significance of it. And so it creates this really direct connection between what you're doing, what you're seeing, and how that is culturally significant. And I thought that was very cool.
When you were playing, did you watch the cultural insights as you played, or did you wait?
I did watch them as I was playing. As soon as it popped up, I would, like, click the button to go view it. What did you do?
I actually waited till the end. I thought
okay.
I didn't want to, like, break up the kind of momentum of the game.
I didn't find that it really broke my flow in any way.
Yeah, they're not exactly, like, particularly long.
And I did feel like I was kind of learning something. Like, you'd get, like, when she's given her, bola, it's like, okay, what is this? Let me watch the video explaining exactly what it is and what they use it for. So I felt like that really worked, being able to watch it, but I can totally see how you would want to lead them to the end. Which, did you feel like you got as much out of it by saving it towards the end and watching them all at once?
I feel like the only thing where I was just kind of like, what? Was during the Northern Lights, when I was like, why are the Northern Lights attacking me?
Right.
And then when you go back, it's like, oh, that's really cool. And
it kind of recontextualizes it.
Yeah, it does give you some really good context, and it gives you some really great insight into the culture that the game is based on.
That was a particularly really good one because you see the Northern Lights and then you unlock the video, and if you watch it, that would tell you the Inupiat view of the Northern Lights and the legend surrounding it, and that would contextualize the entire level, so you'd know going in, you know, why they're attacking you. So that seemed like a really good use of it.
Coming into it as like a world game, like you said, I just kept thinking about like the educational games from my childhood, where I was like, oh god, these are preachy and boring. But this, I felt like you're not going to be like, oh, I am an expert on the Inupiaq people. But, you know, it's very much like, oh, I kind of see where this is coming from, and you're kind of given a new appreciation for it. But the game itself, it's a pretty straightforward platformer.
Which it needs to be, I think. Because
Yeah.
you need to make it approachable.
The gameplay wasn't as tight as I would have liked it to be, just because I died a lot. Like in the last quarter of the game, where it was just weird things, particularly with the wind changing, and then you'd be like impaled. And I was like, and it would happen all the time. And there were a couple times where it would glitch out.
It wasn't very punishing. Like, you would start right back on the same ledge instead of having to start at the beginning.
They had a lot of checkpoints, which I really appreciate.
It's very approachable. Though I found I only had, like, one part where I think it really glitched out on me. Like, I was frozen, like, in midair for a while that I just dropped. But most of the times I messed up and died, it made me think, I wonder, like, if it would be easier if I was playing with somebody else in co-op.
Yeah.
Because it would be something like I'd be moving the fox to move a platform, and she'd be picked up by the Northern Lights.
Or that, like, boss battle with the man-eater.
Right, you kind of had to get the rhythm. Okay, I need to switch to the fox now. Now I need to switch to her. That kind of thing. But, so, did you play the co-op? Because I know you've played co-op for, like, Octodad and stuff.
I know, I usually play co-op for everything, but this time I
didn't. Okay. Because I really felt like there's a lot of stuff where it would be easier if you're talking to another person instead of switching between them.
Like 15 minutes into the game, I was like, wow, this reminds me of Child of Light, but it's actually good.
Right.
Because, they're both about young girls overcoming, and for Child of Light, like, the gameplay was pretty interesting, and the story was just like, blah. For this game, it's a pretty simple story, but it's very, just Nuna and the fox, it's very charming, and getting all the cultural insight.
Like, I really enjoyed the fact that, like, at the very end, the last cultural insight you unlock is them explaining the original story that inspired it and how they made the changes and what those changes are. So, like, in the original story, it's about a man that discovers this giant creating the blizzard and saves the village, and they've changed it to a little girl, and the reason is it's always the person you least expect to rise up and challenge them and save everybody else, to kind of drive home that idea that we're not bigger than anything else. And
which was really lovely.
It really was. And it's one of those things like, yeah, little guy rises up to the big guy is very much a story. It's shared by a lot of cultures. But this kind of contextualizes it, why this is important to the Inupiat people, for example. That was really kind of like the clincher. Like, this is why this game exists. And I feel like you said, there's some things that I wish were a little bit tighter. Like, I had trouble aiming the bola a lot. And I did have some of the glitches, and there are other parts where I thought it might be easier with co-op, where really, if there's a single player, the single player should play. It felt a little bit like a very polished proof of concept. It's like, this is what a world game will be and what it can become, and it can go so many awesome places from here.
We joke and talked about Child of Light and how it kind of like takes you by the shoulders and it's like, you're having an emotional experience. But this game, its simplicity just really does give you an emotional experience.
Well, like, they pay attention to all the right parts. They give details to all the right places that need detail. So, like, there's so much character just in the way that Nuna runs. And that sometimes when you're pulling the platform along as the fox, she'll kind of be looking around in wonder. And it's like, there's so much character just in those tiny moments that kind of helps bridge any gaps where, the narrator isn't there telling you what's going on. And it's just really lovely the way they've constructed it. Mm-hmm.
If I had one word to describe this game, it would be lovely.
Oh.
Like you said, it seems like a proof of concept kind of thing. I think it feels like a full game.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I mean, maybe that wasn't the right way to put it. I didn't want to, like, sound condescending to what they did do, but I feel like there are so many more directions they can go from here. And so this really opens up a lot of possibilities for what you can do with this new genre of world game.
I loved how they kind of combined, like, a really interesting documentary with this game to make it just a complete experience of, I don't know. I it's hard to put into words, really, just because I haven't really ever played
It's
anything
new.
like it. It's new. World games. Yeah,
they hit that sweet spot that all those educational games of our youth, like Oregon Trail, were trying to do. And it's it's actually teaching you and creating an emotional connection and grounding the experience in something you care about.
Like, playing this game, I was like, oh, I know person XYZ who doesn't play video games, but they would love this, especially with the documentary kind of line going through it. I was like, wow, I need to tell everybody about this game.
Yeah, I had the exact same thought at the beginning. I started to kind of go back from that towards the end when I started dying a lot. I'm like, no, they'd be totally frustrated here. But, like, it's a perfect game to introduce somebody to and play co-op with them, I think, and that kind of thing. So, yeah, it was a wonderful little game. I'm so happy we played it.
So that does it for our first Games Club of the year. We obviously really enjoyed Never Alone and are really excited about the prospect of more world games. So let us know in the comments what you thought about Never Alone, as well as the potential for future world games. And don't forget to subscribe to keep up to date with all of our latest episodes and Games Club releases.